Hey, this is Connor with Unit21, and I'm here to talk to you about using Unit21 to help you prevent check fraud. Let's get into it. So before we get into a demo of some of the solutions that we've been developing, I did want to talk to you a little bit about the state of the problem. And we over the past couple of years, talking to our clients, talking to prospective clients, have just heard a tremendous amount of concern about rising check fraud, their customers being the victims of it, lots of mail theft, and it's just exploded. So, and we've seen that a lot of the traditional solutions, image analysis, are really, not, keeping up with the challenge. We also see a very, very interesting, sort of regional trend that check fraud is sort of most prevalent in Delaware and South Dakota. Delaware, I imagine, probably the prevalence of corporations that are based there, but South Dakota, I'm not so sure. Now, what can Unit21 do to help you? We've been developing a number of solutions, a couple on the prevention side, our dark web monitoring product that allows you to get proactive notifications when one of your clients' checks has shown up on the dark web, as well as check fraud rules that allow you to create some really, really useful rules beyond the typical sort of image analysis to look for patterns of potentially suspicious activity. We then, on the investigation side, have our investigation toolkit, giving your analysts the ability to go in, look at images, compare them to previous checks, other documents, and then an AI agent for investigations to help that analyst out. Now, let's dive into to a demo of what some of these look like. I'm going to start with some of the rules. And if you go into the platform and you come into our scenario models, you might see this new section for check fraud rules. And you'll see some things that are probably somewhat self-explanatory, things like a check matching a recent deposit. So with that one, we're looking for floating or kiting. And we're going to be looking for someone who has an outgoing amount is within, a certain percentage of a check deposit made recently. Another thing we might look for would be things like duplicate checks or a missing check number or an out of sequence check, or a tardy check that's being deposited much later than when it was written. And you'll be able to come in and add embedded filters and customize these just like you would any of our other scenario models, including things like adjusting the time ranges that are appropriate for you. Now, once we've set up these rules, you're starting to generate alerts. We can come in and look at our investigation tools, and we could take a look at this, potentially suspicious check deposit we'll see here. And before we get started, just to give it some time to run, I'm going to start running our AI agent. And while we're doing that, we can go use the existing tools for image analysis to come review the check image, compare it against other checks that have been written. And we can, select from, different checks that we have in the system. We can, look at them as an overlay or side by side. There are also some useful tools to adjust things like brightness, contrast, saturation. Really helpful when you're trying to determine whether a check's been manipulated. Maybe somebody's used whiteout, maybe somebody's washed the check. Or we can also compare this against other documents. So if we wanted to look at, at a previous signature card or something like that to compare these, we could look at the signature here compared to the signature on this check and try and figure out, are these consistent? And based off of, looking at the way that these T's are written, these do not look like they're the same thing. So that might be something we would take into account. Now, while we've been doing that, our AI agent has been doing some analysis of this and will produce a summary to help the analyst in their investigation. That can be really, really helpful. And then lastly, we can take a look at what a dark web alert would look like. So we'll see here that you'll just sort of simply get an alert with a link to the stolen check image. This is blacked out, not a real example, but when we do get hits for you, they'll show up in here just like this, and you'll have the opportunity to notify the client, put a hold on any of their checks before any damage is done. Hopefully that's helpful, and learned a little bit about managing check fraud with Unit21. Thank you.
Thank you for joining our demo showcase. There are 11 more Unit21 demos you can dive into while attending Fraud Fighters Virtual Summit today, so please do so. Alternatively, if you're ready to learn more about Unit21 from one of our fraud and AML practitioners, you can simply scan the QR code on the left and request a personalized demo. And last but not least, I'm excited to share that we are in the midst of data gathering for our third annual State of Fraud and AML report. We're seeking to make this research the most informative findings yet, but we're unable to uncover and publish these insights without your contribution. Scan the QR code on the right to fill out the survey. It'll take no more than 10 minutes, and it'll uncover invaluable industry trends and insights so we can all better combat risk and compliance together. Thanks so much for contributing to our research.